Hi everyone, my name is Ben Horn. This video is going to be a short demonstration of the NELA Toolkit. The NELA Toolkit is a series of news analysis tools with the goal of speeding up human fact-checking efforts and hopefully giving people a better understanding of the news as a whole. So this is going to be a live demo. You can actually go to this IP address and play around with the tool yourself. We are getting a domain name soon, but right now we'll stick with the IP address. And we're at the NELA homepage. You can see we've broken the tool down into two different parts, analyzing the news at an article level or analyzing the news at a source level. So right now I will start with the article level analysis. This page is made up of several different machine learning models we put together. So it can predict four different things. It can predict the reliability of an article based on its writing style, the political impartiality of an article based on its writing style, the objectivity of the body text and the title, and what Reddit community would be most interested in the article. And so you can see I've already populated this table with some articles just so I can show you the filtering mechanisms we have. And I want to check out an article. I can just take the URL from an article and paste it into the tool. So you can see this is just a Washington Post article. And so right now what's going on is it's scraping the news article, computing several different pairs of features, and then passing it through our machine learning pipeline. So once it has completed going through the pipeline, it will be added to the table. So if I sort the table by the source, I can see that it has added it. Here's the Washington Post article. The machine learning algorithm is saying that it has an 85% chance of being reliable, and that it has a 68% chance of being politically impartial. As you can see, if we were doing a binary classification, it would have just told us that it's reliable and politically impartial. But instead, we're giving it a probability so we can show users some of the edge cases. Because the news detection is not a two-class problem. It's really two extreme classes with many things in between. So we're trying to show the users when the algorithm is uncertain. So you can see here on this article from Vox, it has a 55% political impartiality. So this seems to be an edge case. If we were doing binary classification, it would say is politically impartial. But here you can see that it is leaning towards being partial, not impartial. And so if I was a journalist and I entered lots of news articles in here that I wanted to fact check, I can use this slider up here to filter down to the least reliable articles. As you can see, we have a few interesting things here. Here's a fake article from Liberty Writers. We can click on that to get more details. So you can see the same things that the table is showing you, but also what other Reddit communities may be interested in it. So right now we're only looking at three different communities. Right, and it looks like the New Right is most interested in this article based on the prediction, which makes sense as this is a right-wing source. If we want to do the opposite, say we took a bunch of articles from some topic, and we want to find the most reliable articles on that topic, we can filter the other way. And you can see that we come down to the top 10 or so most reliable articles that we've entered into our scraper. We can do the same thing for political impartiality and for the different objectivities. So if I wanted to look for very subjective titles, I would do that. So you can see there's some interesting behavior here already. The titles of these articles are very subjective, but some of them are actually reliable articles. So if you look at this article from the Washington Examiner, it's a true article that's the algorithm predicts is reliable, but you see that their title is very subjective. It's stating an opinion that no U.S. president should bow or scream. So if we wanted to go out, jump out to the article, we could click the link over here, and that would jump us out to the article. So say we've entered a ton of sources and we found some that are predicted as unreliable, but we're not sure the whole source is unreliable. So we can start looking at the news from a source level. And so on this page, you'll see that we're displaying a scatter plot of many different news sources. These news sources are coming from a pre-collected data set that we're going to continue collecting and adding to the toolkit. On the x-axis right now, we have how long the title is. And on the y-axis, we have if it was predicted to be a clickbait title or not. So you can already see huge differences in news articles. The Drudge Report doesn't use clickbait, use very short titles, whereas Newslo and Freedom Daily have very long titles that are often very clickbaity. We can select different features to look at. So say we want to look at the smog grade readability on the x-axis, which is basically saying how complex the writing style of the article is. And let's look at the average length of the word on the y-axis. You can select two other features using the color of the bubble or the size of the bubble, but I'm actually just going to select the same one so we can see a very fluent picture. And then you can select what sources you want to compare. So right now, every source in the data set is selected. But say I'm only interested in AP, Activist Post, Addicting Info, Altered Media Syndicate, BBC, and Breitbart. And I can also select what time frame I want to look that over. So if I'm interested in a very specific event that happened, I can look at just that time frame and compare the news sources during that time or during that event, or if they even reported that event. But right now, I'm just going to keep the full 7 months of the data set. Okay, and so you see the picture gets a lot more clear when we take out a lot of the sources. So looking at the x-axis, you see that Activist Post is actually using very complex language, even more complex than AP is. But it's also using very long words, which is correlated with how complex it is. Whereas Addicting Info is exactly the opposite. We can look at other things that are more interesting, maybe negative emotion words on the x-axis. And so you can see they come up in a completely different arrangement. It seems that Addicting Info and Alternative Media Syndicate are using very negative language, whereas AP is not. If I wanted to get a little more details about the source, I can actually just double click the bubble and it will bring me to a source metadata page. So you can see that when we passed all of the articles in the data set from AP into our classifiers, that 100% of the articles came up as reliable and 100% came up as impartial, which is to be expected. This is AP is simply a newswire service. On this side, you can see some of their most shared articles on Facebook, and we can also look at the Facebook engagement over time. So as you can see, not many people share AP news. In addition to this, we can look at the top phrases for each month. So this will give you an idea of both topic and sometimes just simple word usage that an article, that a news source is using over a set of time. And we can also see that AP is a very old news source, so maybe we can use that as a heuristic for how reliable it is. If we wanted to view all of the sources in the data set, we can come back to the source view and then click this button up here, view all sources. And so this will show you every source in the data set. If we want to just look at one in particular, so let's go ahead and look at, find a nice fake one that's typically fake. So let's let's go ahead and look at Breitbart. So looking at Breitbart, you can see when you pass it through the algorithm, it actually gets pretty reliable scores based on its writing style. However, it's very impartial in the majority of the articles. So if 69% of the articles came up as reliable, but the vast majority came up as biased, you could confirm that this may be a hyper-partisan source, as everyone well knows it is. You can see they constantly are getting Facebook shares as all their articles have a high number of shares, and the trend line for Facebook reactions is pretty high over an amount of time. You can also look at what things they were concerned with, the top phrases. So if I just go back and look at one more for you. So let's go ahead and look at Liberty Writers. You can see that Liberty Writers is constantly getting scores that are both saying it's very biased and unreliable. But you can see they actually are getting a large amount of Facebook engagement over time. It's a fairly consistent trend. And you can see this throughout their articles over here. In addition to that, we can see things that they're concerned about. So President Trump, Obamacare, Fox News, North Korea, White House. These are the top phrases that we're finding in their articles each month. Okay, and I think that's all we have. So this toolkit is built with a very modular design. So we're looking to continue to grow and build on it. But for right now, we hope you can get something out of it. Thanks.